So tonight it's probably worth bringing a block into your practice. If you've got two, great, or a cushion if you're not working with a block. So we're actually going to start in a yin way this evening, and we're going to focus on the hips, both external and internal rotation. Last week, obviously, we were working quite a lot in sort of a straight plane. We did a bit of warrior two, but predominantly we were kind of stretching into the psoas at the front of the hip. So this evening, we're going to work more on the abductors and adductors, so creating a bit of movement outwards and inwards with the hip. I think you're both muted anyway. I'm just going to double check. Nope, I shall mute you, Lisa. Obviously, as always, if you if you want to ask a question, you can always wave at me and I will be able to see you. So we're going to start down on the mat. And we're going to come straight into our first pose. So we're going to hold this for time. So when we work in yin yoga, we typically hold postures anywhere from a minute to about, my longest hold has been 11. I fell asleep and had to be woken up. So we're only going to stay here for about a minute and a half. But I'd like you to bring your front leg in front, and you want the shin in line with the front edge of your mat. So we're working kind of line, line. Back leg is going to come around. Now, this will obviously depend on how the quad is feeling. If you can draw the leg further back, grand. If this is just not happening for you, just so long as we've got this kind of bent leg angle, back foot is tracking out. Okay. Matt's showing off his quads. All right, option one is you fold forward, you can come down towards the knee. So if the hips are tight and your glutes are tight, you're folding towards the knee. If they feel okay, you're going to try and come straight forward, and you might start on the fingertips as your first progression and then come down onto the forearms in front. If you're absolute bendy wendy, you're welcome to come over towards the foot and again start on the hands and then come down onto the elbows. You choose where you want to start. So finding your way into a position that you can comfortably-ish hold. You're welcome to make fists with the hands and stack them one on top of the other and bring the forehead down to rest. If you've got a block, Lisa, you're very welcome to stack those and bring the head down onto that instead, or cushions. Trying to find stillness. Starting to become aware of your body. Just noticing areas where you're perhaps holding tension. Noticing the feet and noticing if you're arching the toes back towards you, and see if you can find a resistance point somewhere between actively pulling them back and them being completely relaxed. Noticing your quads and inviting them to gently try to soften. Noticing the glutes, and perhaps notice if you've tensed one glute to fight against gravity, and see if you can gently release it. Noticing the spine, and really allow the head to be heavy. Try and find some way of resting it. Perhaps noticing the jaw and noticing whether you've clamped top and bottom teeth together, and see if you can gently part the teeth. If the tongue has glued itself to the roof of the mouth in desperate bid to fight gravity, gently draw it down. And if at any point you start to notice the sensation of pins and needles in that front leg, there's two options. Either you can bring the front foot closer to you, or you can bring yourself up slightly so don't create as much compression. Come onto the hands instead. Up to you. Allowing yourself another 30 seconds here. Very slowly start to make your way up onto your hands. Draw the hands towards you. Take a moment in a seated position. Bring one hand behind you. Very slowly bring that back leg around. And we're going to swap sides. So now turning that front leg outwards and bringing the other leg behind. So again, we're starting with that shin running parallel to the top of your mat. If you feel like once you start to get to know your body, I start most hip classes with these asanas. If you find yourself in a vinyasa class with me and you know you're prone to getting that pins and needles, it's just because there's too much pinch. So you're starting to pinch blood vessels that run through. I get it all the time. So the way that I go around it is I tend to put a strap into that crease line and I pull it down and I fold up and over the strap, and it just creates a bit more space. Okay, so choosing again whether you're folding towards knee, straight in front, or over towards the foot, finding somewhere that you can come down. And one side will definitely be tighter than the other, that's okay. That's found the tight side. Try and relax the head. Notice the jaw, notice the tongue. Noticing the feet, the temptation to really engage the toes and the ankles and gently soften them. And this time using the time to start to come into the breath. Noticing as you inhale, trying to fill the base of the spine. Breathing all the way up into the upper back, separating the shoulder blades. Then as you exhale, allow the shoulder blades to gently draw back together. And lower the lower back all the way down. Inhaling, filling the back. Spreading the ribs wide across the back all the way up into the shoulder blades. And exhale, soften the chest down. Continuing to try and deepen and lengthen that breath. Yin yoga works with the fascia of the body. It works in unison with the myofascial trains that run through the body. We're going to do an evening on that one Sunday. But through the myofascial trains are where the acupuncture lines, the meridian lines associated with Chinese medicine lie. The hips, the pelvic region in Indian culture is represented as the root chakra, the seat of our soul, the seat of who we are. And in Chinese culture, it's where all of those lines cross. It's an energy center. Running through the myofascial web, the base of the body is where all myofascial lines cross. So whichever way you want to look at it, Western, Eastern, or Indian culture, the center can become quite a fraught area for energy to accumulate and represent itself in the form of muscular tightness.
Take one more deep breath cycle here. Slowly again, finding your way up onto your hands. Okay. Bring the front leg around. Bring the back leg behind. I promise we're not folding forward again. Okay. We're going to try and lift ourselves up. So the temptation with all of these, especially when we're seated, is to kind of round and collapse into the low back. Try and drive, almost tilt the pelvis back. So you're leaning forward slightly, bring the arms up. If your arms are burning because you've been doing press-ups, believe that. Bring the back leg in front. And then bring the front leg behind. So you're swapping sides. Trying not to use the hands to help you. Starting to bring the back leg in front leg goes behind. Good. Okay, one more time each side. Front leg, behind. Back leg to the front, or front leg goes behind. So we're starting to find a bit of mobility in the hips rather than just finding flexibility for the sake of flexibility's sake. Bring the hands down. Your glutes, I'm not about to know what's going to hit them. So bring both hands down in front of you. I tend to frame my front knee. And you can choose where you want to bring your hands. That would be my suggestion. We're going to lift up and lean forward slightly. So we're keeping a long torso. We're not rounding, we're long here. And I'd like you to flex the back toes. So really actively pull the toes towards the shin. And then pick up the back leg. Just the back ankle. There we go. Love that base, Lisa. And then lower it back down again. Okay, and we're going to pulse it. So we're going to bring it up and down, up and down. So we're trying to internally rotate the hip by bringing the foot higher each time. 5, down, 4, down, 3, down, 2, down. Good. And 1, hold. And then pulse up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4 every time. Okay, yeah, kids. Great, I promise, Matt, we will stretch out as well as doing brutal drills. Bring the hands down, this time in the gap between the front of your leg and your pelvic area. Other hand comes down alongside the hip. Sorry, I'm wearing black on grey, you can't really see it. Okay, I'm going to pick up the front shin. You might just pick up the knee, that's okay. Ideally, you're going to try and push down and pick up the whole of the front leg. Again, toes pull back. And drop it down. Good, pick it up. Use your adductors, drop it down. Pick it up. 5, pick it up. 4, pick it up. 3, pick it up. 2, pick it up for 1. Good. Okay. Bring the arms out. Swap sides. Nice. Good. Bring the hands down again, framing that front knee. Pulling the back toes towards you, so really dorsiflexing that back ankle. And then picking up the back leg. Good, so making sure that we're long and leaning slightly forward into the fingertips and picking up the back. Really think about rotating inwards with the hip. We're not trying to use the upper body, we're just trying to use that hip. 3, 2, 1, hold, and then pulse up nicely. So keep it up. Good, and then pulse it up for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it down. Shift the weight back slightly. Again, trying not to collapse, keeping long. Fingers come inside behind the front shin, alongside the thigh. Pull the front toes back this time and try and pick up the front leg. One side will be harder than the other. Pick it up, down. Pick it up, down. Pick it up, down. Good, and up. 5, down, up 4, down, up 3, down, up 2, down, up 1. Good, bring it down. Okay, bring both feet together in front of you. We're going to come into Baddha Konasana. So Baddha Konasana translated is bound book. Idea is that the thumbs come in to the soles of the feet. So they come in right onto the pads, and the outside of the hands, the other four fingers come on top. So you're just gently opening the feet up. The purpose of this is to help externally rotate the hips. Okay. And again, temptation is to round into the spine here, because you see it in yogis and they've got their head down and their feet. And the only way to do that is to dome into the low back. Instead, we're going to tilt the pelvis backwards. So try and pull yourself forward. Good. And then again, we're folding forward, elbows come in front of the knees or shins. Traditionally, this was cued, elbows come in, because they believed that eventually the elbows would end up in the belly because you fall forward so far. Most Western proportions, your elbows literally will never come in contact with the belly. Physically impossible for most of us, and when it does, you're certainly not flashing your kidneys. So I suggest use your elbows in front, and then you can use them to help pull you forward. You're right, Lisa. That's fine, as long as you're stretching and we're not feeling it in the knees, that's okay. I'm happy with that. Every inhale, try it, especially if you've got the shins in contact with the lower arm, you're going to really press the two together, push out, and walk the arms further down. Take 2 more breath cycles. Good, and then very slowly come up. Okay, I'd like you to bring the feet together. We're going to do a proprioceptive exercise. We need to be slightly careful of this because we're moving the pelvis and the femur bones internally and externally within the socket. We need to be slightly mindful of how much pressure we give. I've had people give 100% and then end up with quite extreme pain. So I want you to give 50% of your maximum. No more than that. This is not a compression challenge. This is just a mild engagement and a relax. So this time we're going to bring the feet together. You can choose whether you want to bring the hands onto the legs. You can choose whether you want to bring the hands anywhere else on the body. Try not to use them to push against the ground. That's my only request. Push the feet together. About 50%. So you should feel some engagement, some activation through the inner thighs. So long as you're not feeling it in the knee, keep pushing. And then gently release. Allow the feet to open back up again. Maybe see if the knees will go even lower. We're going to do that 2 more times. So whenever you are ready, gently bring yourself up. Bring the soles of the feet together. Push the feet in. Aiming for about 50%. You should really feel this contracting through the inner thighs. Keep pushing. And then gently release. Allow the knees to go a little bit deeper, maybe starting to engage and really try and pull them down towards the ground. Good. One more time. I do everything in 3s, apologies. So bring the feet together, push them in. If you really want to go to town, you're always welcome to lean back, bring the arms out, and try and lift the feet, keeping the whole of the ball of the foot in contact so you don't roll onto the inner edge. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Bring them down. Relax. Good effort, Matt. Okay. You're also going to notice with the hips that one will be higher than the other. For me, this is incredibly noticeable. I have scoliosis, which means my entire pelvis is twisted. So this is like a regular occurrence for me. We're going to do a few things in 3s tonight, just so that you start to understand your own body mechanics and where you would need to spend more time opening as opposed to stretching. Okay, find your way into a tabletop shape. However you want to get there, roll the ankles, roll yourself over, up to you. Okay, so making sure, first of all, that the fingers are always spread wide. Making sure that that crease line across the wrist, when you pull your hand back, you'll see a crease. Making sure, again, that that runs parallel with the top of your mat. So we're not, you know, everyone's hand placement will be slightly different because everyone's crease and anatomy of their hands is slightly different. Okay. Spreading the fingers wide, drawing the fingertips in towards you so we create that micro bend underneath the fingers. Pressing down hard through the knuckles, focusing in particular on the first finger and the thumb. They always want to lift here. Good. So again, from an energetic point of view, we're trying to not slap the hands down. We're trying to actively pull the fingers in, doming, and then creating a slight dome through the upper back. Good. And then to make sure we're really active here, I want you to pull the hands apart and then try and pull the hands towards you. So you should feel your shoulders starting to really fire. So you're basically pulling diagonally back and right. Keep pulling. And then gently release some of the pressure. If the knuckles or the wrists at any point get a bit too much, you're really welcome to shake them out. Okay, we're going to do that one more time. You can choose to take it up a notch and press down with the top of the feet, hover the knees, and then try and pull the hands back and push the knees forward. Your core will brace like it doesn't brace normally. It's horrid. Not entirely up to you. So you're going to push with the feet if you want to, or you can just press with the feet and keep the knees down and just feel the engagement through the legs. Same with the hands. Pull the hands diagonally back and right. Push the knees forward if you're engaging. So tops of the feet press down, kneecaps push forward. Pull the hands back and right. So you should feel this bracing through the core, through the upper body. Keep holding one more breath in. Release all the pressure. Okay. Yeah, it's a weird one because you're not actually really doing anything. Anyone would look at you and be like, what are they sweating for? It's really tough. Okay, find your way back into a tabletop. We're going to tuck the toes underneath. Matt, that's the only bit of core work we're doing. I promise. Okay, make sure you're bracing. Lower ribs tucked down. We're going to pick the right leg up. So we're opening the hip out to the side. Good, and then we're going to draw the right knee through underneath the body as if you were going to bring it towards the left elbow. Might make it there, might just bring underneath the body, that's fine. And then open back up. Exhale, draw it through and underneath. Inhale, open it up. Exhale, draw it through and underneath. Good, bring the right knee across to the right elbow and drop the knee down behind the wrist. Good. Tuck the back toe. Lift up the back knee and walk the foot back. Drop the back knee down, come onto the top of the foot. And then pivot on your right knee. So the right ankle, and you're welcome to drop onto the hip and pull the foot a bit further forward. Coming into half pigeon. So you want to bring your, that's it, yeah, good. And then we're making sure the hips are level. Tendency in pigeon is to want to collapse down onto one hip because it feels way better for the body. Find yourself in a position where the hips are both level and neither of them is grounded. Okay. Take a deep breath in, invite some length. And then come down onto the forearms. So forearms come directly underneath the shoulders. Reason for this is you always see yogis extended all the way out, their arms in front of them, and they're like, oh, that's amazing. We then put way too much load straight down on a very exposed joint. So we're just going to say elbows underneath shoulders. If this feels comfortable, you're welcome to bring that front leg further forward. If this is uncomfortable, just notice what the jaw wants to do and try and relax it. Again, trying to find stillness, noticing when we come into these yin poses, the temptation to fidget. It's a bit like a meditation. It invites us to find stillness amongst the discomfort. Very slowly start to draw the hands underneath the shoulders. Tuck the back toe. Lift up the back knee and step the front foot back. Find a high plank and then drop straight back down into your tabletop, walking the hands back. Okay, so we're going to swap sides. So again, tucking both toes underneath. And then opening up the left hip out to the left side. Good, and then drawing the knee through under the body with the exhale towards the right elbow. Inhale, open it up. Exhale it through. Inhale it up. Exhale into internal rotation. And then bring the left knee to the left elbow, drop it down behind the wrist. Good. Tuck the back toe. Lift up the back knee, slide the leg behind you, drop the knee and untuck the foot, and then bring the front leg further forward. Again, rolling the hips back down so it's square. And then coming down, elbows underneath shoulders. Drop the right hip a little bit more, Matt. There you go. Sorry. Good, Lisa. Lisa, can you bring your left foot slightly further forward? You look quite comfortable. I can see you. Again, notice where you're holding tension. Notice if it's in the glute engaging because it's resisting stretching. Notice if you've made fists with the hands. Notice if the jaw is set. And then finally, try and identify where the tongue is within your mouth and gently draw it down. Very slowly. Start to rise up onto the hands. Stack the back toe, lift the back knee, step the front foot back, high plank. Drop down, find the tabletop. Okay, I want you to repeat the side that's tighter for you. We're not going to do the opening the hip, we're just going to slide the knee forward and find our way into a pigeon. And I'm guessing it's left for Matt, maybe right for Lisa. Oh, left for Lisa. Okay, come down. Elbows underneath shoulders. Yeah, Matt, you want to try and drop your right hip down a bit. There we go. Two more breath cycles. And very slowly drawing the hands underneath the shoulders. Tuck the back toe. Lift the back knee, set the front foot into a high plank. Drop the knees down. Shift the weight forward and move through your first vinyasa. So we're finding that long line from the knees all the way through to the crown of the head. And then lowering elbows towards the back of the mat. Good. Come onto the top of the feet, press down, lift the knees. Roll the shoulders back. So you're trying to squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then pull the hands towards you. So that action of pulling the hands is what lifts the chest. Lifting the gaze up, squeezing the elbows behind, making sure the toes are all down, not just the big toes. Try and get the little toes down too. And then lower down. Tuck the toes, inhale to a tabletop. And then exhale, push back, find a downward facing dog. And take a moment to perhaps pedal one heel and then the other, inviting length and space into the back of the legs. And then slowly, we're going to rise up onto the tiptoes, and instead of bending the knees and walking the feet forward, I want you to try and use your psoas that we tried to target last week. I want you to lift up the right foot, lift up the right hip, step the right foot forward, stay on the tiptoes. Lift up the left foot, lift up the left hip, hoik it up, step the foot forward. Left hip up, foot forward, left hip up, forward. Use your psoas to lift and bring the leg forward as far as you can until you have to bend them. Good. And then inhale. Bring hands to the shins, straighten the leg, extend the crown of the head forward, find a long back. Exhale, bend the knees, belly comes down to thighs, relax the head. Plant both hands down. We're going to step the left foot to the back of the mat. Drop the back knee and untuck the back toe. So just take a minute, notice if the knee has gone way past the ankle, and if it has, just step the front foot forward. Okay, we're going to bring both hands to the inside of the knee. We're going to do a little bit of PNF stretching, so just making sure, Matt, I think you're bending than you think you are. Walk your right foot a bit further forward. Right foot. Yeah, that's it, okay. We're going to squeeze the knee in towards the shoulder, and I want you to push the shoulder back out into the knee. So again, we're getting into those inner thighs that were always neglected in a yoga practice. Really push the shoulder out, squeeze the knee in. Take one more deep breath in. As you exhale, release the pressure. Walk the right foot out a little bit wider and turn the right toes onto diagonal. Okay. We're going to do the same thing again. So we're going to squeeze the knee back in, leave the foot where it is, push the shoulder out into the knee, pull the knee in towards the shoulder. One more deep breath in. Exhale, release. Take the hips forward, walk the foot out, turn the toes. You might need to move the hands to help find your balance point again in the middle of the mat. Last time, squeeze the knee in, push the foot out, and try not to round into the back as you do this. Try and keep pulling the crown of the head forward. Squeeze the knee in, push the shoulder out. One more deep breath in. Release. Walk the foot, turn the toes. Okay. From here, again, the tendency is to always round into this. I want you to pull the crown of the head forward, push that hip back. Keep trying to sink the hips forward and down. One more breath cycle. Now, you're not going to like me. We're going to tuck the back toe, pick up the back knee. Good. Take one more deep breath in there. As you exhale, you can choose. You can drop the knee down, you can keep it up. We're going to bring the right hand onto the thigh and apply a very tiny amount of pressure onto the knee. So we're taking a bit of a twist through the chest, and you might find that the foot wants to roll onto the outer blade. That's okay. Take one more breath cycle in. If you've got the knee up, drop it down. Bring both hands back down, walk the right foot in. Okay. Bring the right hand back to the outside of the right foot. Tuck the back toe. Lift up the back knee, bring the arms up overhead, find a high lunge. Good, and then we're going to open up into our first warrior two. So opening up the feet, so front foot, right foot stays facing forward, left foot, toes turn straight. Okay, sinking down into the front knee again, coming back into the basics with the form. We want to make sure we're rolling onto the outer blades of the feet, so the inner arches are lifted. We want to engage the glutes, tucking the pelvis slightly underneath and making sure that that front knee pulls out, doesn't collapse in. And then with the feet, really pull them back in. Ooh, there's the hip. Pull the hip literally back into the socket. Draw the body up and bring the arms up. Gaze, if you can, stays over the front hand. Really extend the fingers away, sink a little bit deeper, keeping the feet pulling in. As you inhale, start to straighten the front leg up. Bring the hands down onto the waist. Okay, so here we want to make sure the hips are definitely tracking towards the long edge of the mat. They're not slightly turned diagonally, they want to be towards the long edge. In an ideal world, we would leave the feet where they are. If this feels absolutely ghastly, you're welcome to turn the front foot onto a diagonal. Try not to turn it all the way forward. You're going to press the hips back, drive the weight into the heels. So we push the hips all the way back, pulling the crown of the head forward, find a long back. And then shift the weight forward into the balls of the feet and fold a little bit deeper. Keeping the hands on the waist. Feeling quite an intense sensation, I would have thought, all the way up, making sure both thighs are lifted, kneecaps are pulled up. Good, and then to come up, I want you to pull the feet towards each other. So again, we're now lifting the energy from the feet, from the ground, all the way up. Pull yourself all the way up. This is quite intense to come up. Sink back down, find your warrior two. Good, take a deep breath in. We're going to cartwheel the hands down. Turn onto the ball of the back foot. Set the front foot to the back of the mat. Find a plank. And then you can choose whether you want to take a full chaturanga if you've built to that, or you can drop the knees, shift yourself forward. So again, we're finding this long line, and then exhale, elbows towards the back of the mat. Come onto the top of the feet. Make sure as you start to press down, all 10 toes are in contact. Roll the shoulders back, and then pull the hand back towards you, so the shoulders will naturally pull down away from the ears and peel back. Elbows squeeze behind. Exhale to lower. Tuck toes. Push to a tabletop. Don't twerk back. We see this all the time, going into a downward dog, leading with the arms. Instead, draw the ribcage in, so you're pulling back the front of the body. The ribcage is what's leading that progression back to a downward dog. Good, Lisa. And then wrap the shoulders out. Yes. Nice, good. Make sure the thumb and first finger are also grounded, especially those knuckles. Nice, then draw the ribs in underneath the mat. Here we go. Take a deep breath in. We're going to gaze forward. You can choose. If it's in your practice, you're welcome to step the left foot forward. If we're not there yet, we're still building strength. We're going to drop onto the knees. Walk the hands back. Lift your chest up and simply step the left foot forward. Neither is wrong. Both use the core. Entirely up to you. Okay. Sink down into that hip flexor. Both hands come to the inside of the foot. Untuck the right toes. Okay. So same again. Push the knee in. Push the shoulder out. You're aiming for about 50–60%. Make sure the crown of the head keeps pulling forward. One more deep breath in. Exhale, release the pressure. Walk the left foot out, turn the toes onto the diagonal. Readjust the hands if you need to. Same again, squeeze the knee in, push the shoulder out into the knee. Feel the inner thigh starting to work. Keep pulling the crown of the head forwards, the abdominals stay engaged. And then release. Walk the foot wider, turn the toes. Last time, squeeze the knee in. Push the shoulder out into the knee. Really find that contact point. Inner thigh is working. Maybe the glutes are firing on that back right leg. Exhale, release. Good. Walk the toes even wider. Really turn them out. Keep pulling forward from the crown of the head. So we're finding this long line, hips trying to drop forward and down. Good. And then tuck the back toe. Here it comes. Lift up the back knee. Keep the crown of the head coming forward. You can choose whether you stay here or whether you want to drop the back knee back down again. But we're going to lift up the left hand this time, bringing it onto the thigh. Twisting the left shoulder up and perhaps rolling onto the outer blade of the left foot as we sink our hips forward. Trying to keep that back leg straight. One more breath in. Exhale. Bring the back knee down. If you've lifted it, walk the front foot back in. Left hand comes to the outside of the foot. Tuck the back toe, lift up the back leg, step the front foot to the back of the mat. Into your high plank. I missed an entire bit. Push back, take a downward dog. Take a second. My brain just turned off, sorry. Take a deep breath in. If you want to step the left foot forward, you're welcome to. If you're dropping onto the knees, walking the hands back, lifting the chest up and then drawing the left knee forward, that's fine too. Take the variation that works for you. So left foot, that's it. Because I skipped out the high lunge and warrior 2 bits. Okay. Tuck the back toe underneath, lift up, find a high lunge. And then exhale, open up, find your warrior 2 on the other side. Good, so making sure we've got quite a long stance. If you bend into the front knee and it can easily go past the ankle, simply walk the foot a bit further forward. We want a nice 90-degree angle here. Rolling onto the outer edges of both feet, pull the feet towards each other. So we literally scoop the pelvis back up. Good, arms come up, fingers extend away from each other, really active here. Imagine that you're pulling all the power in through your feet and projecting it all out through the fingers. Squeezing the shoulder blades behind. Good. And then slowly start to straighten the front leg. Hands come onto the weights. When I say straight, making sure we're not locking out the joints. You want to keep a micro bend, quads lifted on both legs. Make sure the hips are tracking straight towards the long edge of the mat. And then press the hips back, fold the body forward. And again, this will feel very different on one side. So we're shifting the weight into the heels as we fall back, and then we shift the weight forward into the balls of the feet once we're down. Squeezing the elbows behind us, keeping the upper back engaged. Crown of the head pulls forward, so we're pushing the hip back, draw the crown of the head further forward. Nice, feel it intensify. One more breath cycle. Pull the feet together, come all the way up. Good, turn the front toes, sink back down, find your warrior 2. Take a deep breath in, cartwheel the hands. Turn onto the ball of the back foot and step the back foot to the front of the mat. Good, inhale to lift, find your halfway length. Exhale, soften the knees, fold. Inhale, we're going to come all the way up, standing, reaching the arms up overhead. And then exhale, release the hands down by your side. Taking 3 deep breath cycles here. Sorry, I had my phone plugged in the whole time and it wasn't actually turned on. Take a second. You're going to shift your weight down into your left leg. And I'd like you to bring the opposite foot up, finding your way into a tree pose, and that might be here. Doesn't matter. The integrity of the tree pose is that we're in external hip rotation, so we're trying to rotate the hip open. So it doesn't really matter where the foot is in placement on the leg. You choose. But it wants to be above or below the knee, so we're not pressing on that poor knee joint. Sorry, Matt. Okay. Push the foot into the leg, push the leg back into the foot. So again, we're finding this engagement. We're not just hanging out in this posture. It really should be a fire feeling through the inner groin, making sure the abdominals, the lower ribs tuck underneath so the pelvis slightly adapts under. Bring the hands together. Thumb just above the chest bone, above the sternum. And then breathe the chest up towards the sternum. Just up towards the sternum. Hands. Bring the elbows up. Start to push the hands together so you wrap the shoulders behind you, shoulder blades squeeze together. So we've got foot against leg, leg against foot, shoulder blades firing. Hands gently pressing together. Taking one more deep breath cycle in. And then slowly, we're going to start to bend into the standing leg. I'm going to pick up the front, your right leg, and slide it over the top of the knee. And then we're going to start to bend the standing leg. So Lisa, if your foot's down, you want to bring it further in front of you. So we're kind of foot in front of foot, and as you sink back, you're going to get exactly the same stretch. So the standing leg is tracking forward and the external leg is tracking out. Good. One more breath cycle. Inhale, slowly come up and bring the foot down. Swapping sides, finding tree on the other side. Good, so making sure base foot, toes pull in. So we've got that initial lift of energy, lift of anatomical awareness through the foot. Arches are lifted, knee tracks out, foot presses against leg, leg presses back into foot. Lower ribs tuck down, thumbs above sternum, lift the sternum to the thumbs. Elbows rise up, shoulder blades wrap back. Press the hands together so we should feel the upper back, working in the inner thighs. One more deep breath in. Release the pressure. Slowly you can choose. So again, either the foot comes quite far in front and we kind of look like a joker as we sink our hips back, or we bring the foot up above the knee, toes really dorsiflexed, and sink the hips back and down. So we're trying to keep a long spine, not leaning too far forward. Inhale, come up. Shake out the legs. Okay. Coming back to the front of your mat if you've shuffled yourself around. We're going to step the right foot back. So we're going to find our way straight into a warrior two shape. For the sake of this, keep the hands on the waist. We're going to turn your back toes, so your right toes towards the back corner of your mat. So they're on a diagonal. Yep. And then I'd like you to start to straighten your front leg and bend into the back leg. The hips go right back. Keep the toes down on the front foot to begin with. Good. Inhale, come up. Exhale, bend into the warrior two. Good. This time, inhale, come up. Exhale again, bend into that back leg. So the knee is tracking diagonally towards the toes. This time, lift up the front toes, send the hips back again. Low as you can get it. Inhale, come up. Exhale, sink back down, warrior two. Okay, we have options. Option one is to repeat what we just did. So we're holding here, and you can bring the hands down so we're not just completely dominating that leg. Option two is to bring the hands in front of you. It's a bit of a trust exercise. You walk the hands forward. If you're feeling tension here, lift up the heel, walk the hands back towards that foot. So you're walking them back onto the diagonal. And we find ourselves in a pose called Skandasana. Toes are up, heel might need to be lifted because of range. Option three is to come from here straight down. Take the version that fits you. It will look different on different bodies. Good, Lisa, really pulling those toes up, 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 up. You had it. You just got to pull the toes up. That's it. Nice, good. Yes, there she is. Okay, we're all down. I was not expecting that. Right hand is going to come down against the knee and lift the left arm up. So we're now trying to peel the chest open. Arm goes all the way up. Okay, here's the fun bit. Bring the hand back down. You can choose. You can bring the hand behind you to help you sit, or you can bring the hands in front of you and sit down. Good. Okay. Are we down? We're down. That's fine. That's all that matters. Okay. Keep the right knee up. I'd like you to drop the knee. So we're finding a bit of mobility again. Drop the knee down so it's running alongside the other leg. Good. So try and keep your left leg extended, Matt. That's it. Toes pull up towards the ceiling. Yes, that's it. And then pick up the right knee. So left toes are actively pulling up. Drop the right knee back down. Inhale, pick it up. Exhale, drop it down. Good. Inhale, pick it up. Right. Here's the fun part. To begin with, you might come cross-legged, hands come down, stand yourself up, warrior two. Option two, cross-legged, don't use your hands, stand up. Option three, God, get up and down, the floor's firing. Hands are in front, rock back, lift up the right foot, rock forward back into that shape, and then push and find warrior two. That is an intermediate advanced variation, but I'm throwing it out there in case you want to play with it. Find your way to a standing posture is what I should have said. Good. Okay. Bring the arms out into your warrior two shape. Cartwheel the hands down. Turn onto the ball of the back foot. Okay. You're going to shift your weight into your front leg. Back leg will lift off the floor. That's it. And then from here, what we're going to do is we're going to bend your standing leg into the back of the other leg. If I lift my head up, you can probably see knee to knee. Lift the leg behind you. Bend the knee to knee. One more time. Lift the leg behind you. Okay. Bend knee to knee. And then bring the knee all the way down to the floor. So right knee slides behind the left and comes down. You've got it, Lisa. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Good. Okay, and now sit down. Okay, there are options here. Option one, depending on knees. I have active camouflage. This has not worked out. Sorry, I promise next week I'll wear different colors. Option one, bottom leg extends straight out. Top leg is bent over the top. Option two, bottom leg bends around. We make sure we don't sit on it. We ground the hip. Option three, this foot, you bring it onto the top of the foot so the knees stack over each other. Take the option that fits your body. If you're working with the bottom leg straight, Matt, see if whilst you're here, you can actually come onto the top of the foot so the knee is still stacking. It's just the bottom leg stays straight. Oh, you got the leg bent. I can see you now. Look at you. Okay. Whichever variation fits you, bring the hands behind. Lift up with the chest. So we're really pressing through the fingertips, finding a long spine, tucking the chin back into that delightful double chin we all love so much, and then lean forward. Making sure not to lift up the left hip. I can see shadow underneath it. If the hip needs to lift, bring something underneath the right hip, the opposite hip to the one that's lifted. So don't fill the gap, just elevate the other hip and it will help gravity balance the two out. That's it. And then keep trying to lean the body forward. One more breath cycle. Slowly bring yourself up. Oh, buddy, you think you've broken the world. Okay. So again, you can find your way into a cross-legged position. Stand up. You can use your hands. Find your way to a standing position in front of your mat. Nice. Okay. So we're going to swap sides. We're going to step the left foot to the back of the mat. Find a warrior two. Start to turn the back toes out onto the diagonal, hands come onto the weights. Inhale, straighten the front leg, bend the back knee towards that diagonal, keep the bottom to the front toes down, really pulling on that inner thigh. Inhale, come up. Exhale, bend back into warrior two legs. Inhale, come up. Bend into the back leg this time, lift up the front toes, sink as low as you can, hips push back. Really make sure the quads are active, so we should feel this all the way through the hamstring. Inhale, come up. Exhale, find warrior two legs. Last time, inhale, come up. Front toes lift up, and again, if you can come straight down, good for you. If you can't, bring the hands in front of you. It's a trust exercise that the ground will catch you. And then walk the hands back towards the back foot. And the heel might need to lift, simply because you don't have the range in the Achilles. I do not. If you're walking the hands back, Lisa, you probably want to shorten the stance to bring that left leg closer to you. It'll help. There you go. Yeah, that's it. Good. Okay. So this time, left hand comes down. And then open up the right arm. Really making sure that top leg thigh is active. One more deep breath in. Bring the hands down. You can choose to use your hands, or you can choose to bring them in front of you and find your way to a seated position. I'm going to apologize. I've just clocked the time. We're probably going to run over about 5 minutes. Is that all right? Yeah, thumbs up. Okay. Lisa's like, no, that's it. Leaving now. Okay, Lisa, you want your left leg bent, right leg straight. That's it. Bring the hands in front of you to make sure that we're not rounding back. Keep pulling the hands forward. Drop the knee down. Inhale, pick it up. Exhale, drop it down. Inhale, pick it up and really try and open it up as you come out. And then exhale, drop it down. Last time, inhale, pick it up. You choose how you find your way back up to standing. You can cross the legs, use your hands, push up. You can not use your hands, push up. You can try and rock back, lift up the left foot and rock forward and find your way up. I can't do it on that side. Oh, find your way back into a warrior two. So you want our right leg in front, that's it. Take a deep breath in, cartwheel the hands. Turn onto the ball of the back foot and then step the back foot almost to match the front. Good, okay, so driving the weight down, pick up the back leg. And then bend knee into the back of knee, cobbler squat. Inhale, straighten the back leg. Exhale, bend knee to knee. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend knee to knee. Let the knee slide past so it comes alongside the other foot and come to sit down. Right, there you guys again. Okay, so again, your choice, whether you are knee over knee and the knee is pointing up, whether you're knee over knee, knees are down, whether you're knee over knee, bottom leg is straight. Choose what works for you. So you want your right leg over, I think, this time, Lisa? By the way, you had it right the first time. I'm mirroring you. We're trying to be nice. Yeah. Yeah, so again, elevating the opposite hip. If you find it tends to lift, bring the hands behind you. Push the chest forward as you try and fall forward. And again, one side will feel much more comfortable in terms of hip. Every inhale, keep trying to drive the chest forward, lift through the crown of the head, lean the body forward. One more breath cycle. Inhale, come up. Exhale, release both legs. Bend the feet. Bring the hands behind you. You can turn the fingers towards you or fingers turn out, depending on your shoulders. And just gently drop the knees one side to the other. Letting go of any tension we're holding in the lower back. And as you wiggle, you might start to find that you actually wiggle your bum further down the mat. That's fine too. That's where we're heading. Okay. Final posture before Shavasana. We're going to roll down and find a happy baby. So happy baby option 1, inside of the feet. Arms come through the inside of the knees. Or option 2 is you take the outside of blades of the feet. Entirely up to you. But noticing once you're down the way the tailbone always lifts off the mat and probably the low back too. And I want you to try and press the low back and the tailbone back down. Keep a hold of the feet. Should feel it intensify through the hips. Good, and keep the head down if you can. So we're making sure the tailbone is long and grounded. The low back is in contact. Pressing the feet straight down so the knees are to the outside of the body. And then because we're happy babies, maybe try and invite some movement, rocking left and right along the spine, keeping the low back down. Then very gently release the feet, bring the knees in towards the chest. For me, doing quite a lot of external hip work feels quite intense, so I tend to finish with my feet wide and I drop my knees in. It might not for you. You might feel fine to go straight to Shavasana. Entirely up to you. If you do, you're just straightening the legs straight down to the bottom of the mat. Yeah, when you feel ready, lower the legs down. Bring the hands to run alongside the body, the palms upturned and gently drawn away from the sides. Tucking the chin down towards the chest so we find more length through the back of the neck. And just allowing yourself to rest here. Noticing the weight of the back of the body. The weight of the back of the heels. The back of the calves, the back of the thighs and the glutes, and really just allow them to rest. Allow any residual holding on or tightness to just soften. Noticing the top of the hip. Allowing the hip bones to mold apart from each other as they gently soften. Noticing the spine and the shoulder blades, the backs of the arms. Allowing the whole of the upper body to just melt down and feel heavy. Noticing the weight of the back of the head. Just becoming aware of any feelings you're holding on to, anatomical or otherwise. The hips, because of the combination of energetic lines and muscular tension. As I said at the beginning, I tend to be known as a bit of a storage ground for the body. And I tend to get a bad reputation in yoga that when we open our hips, we open up this Pandora's box of where we've stored everything. So just allowing yourself to be mindful of that over the next day or two. Noticing any shifts emotionally. And acknowledging that it doesn't always have to be bad. Sometimes the thing that we fear the most is joy. Because at any moment we know it can be taken from us. So if joy is what comes up for you, revel in it and enjoy it. Try not to press it straight back down. Very slowly begin to draw focus into the fingers and into the toes. As you inhale, bring the legs together and reach the arms up overhead and behind you, stretching yourself out from end to end. Take a really deep breath in, and as you exhale, bending the knees and rolling onto your left or your right side, using your bottom arm as a support for the head for a moment. Keep the eyes closed if you can. And then in your own time, gently start to push down with the top hand, straighten the top leg. Push yourself back to a seated position on the mat. Bringing the hands wherever they naturally find themselves, thighs or knees. Drawing the shoulders back and down along the body. And taking a really deep breath in. Fill the belly, fill the chest, lift yourself up. Open the mouth, exhale. Inhale, fill, really extend the belly, lift the chest, lift the collarbones. Open the mouth, exhale. Last time, inhale, fill yourself right up, hold at the top. Take in a tiny bit more air, open the mouth, really forcefully let it out. Coming to find a normal rhythm of breath. Lifting the corners of the mouth for a moment and just notice how gently smiling can make you feel. Extend the arms out in front of you, rub the hands together to generate some heat. Bring the fingers over the eyes. Blink the eyes open behind the hands. Spread the fingers to let light back in slowly. And then draw the hands down in front of you when you feel ready. Namaste.